Hey everybody, Sean Holsinger here from holsingersflyshop.com. Today I'm tying a very tiny Mayfly Nymph pattern. Lately I've been catching a lot of trout on this. It's a little size 22 Mayfly. And I'm going to tie it on a size 18 just for video quality, but you can see how small this actually is in the 22 here. And I'll put another picture up here of a whole bunch of them laying on a dime just to give you an idea comparison wise. And I always used to have this thing in my head, I guess you'd say. If I couldn't see it, I didn't need to fish it. I've been learning a little bit differently lately. I'm tying this on a size 18 1120 Daiichi. Gonna start my thread on here, and I'm gonna wrap it back just right around the bend. I like to have the you can tie it on a wet nymph hook. I just like the curve, the natural curve of the hook, just personal preference. And for the tail on this, you can use pheasant tail, partridge, whatever. I have a little bit of partridge here, and I'm just gonna take a couple strands of the partridge, try to straighten it out there a little bit, and I'm just gonna tie them down. Okay, now I don't want the tail real long. Actually, when you get down into a 22, you can cut the tail out if you want. You don't even really have to use the tail. I do, but you don't really need to. Fish are going to have trouble seeing a fly that's size 22 anyway. But believe me, they do, and the big fish see it. I know in our area, like, there's some streams with some pretty decent sized trout in it, and these trout see everything impossible. Everything possible under the sun, and they feed a lot on little, midges and little tiny mayflies and stuff like this. So this is a key part of the trout's diet, and if you're not fishing it, you're missing out on something. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to build up the body with my thread. Then I'm going to come in with a piece of pheasant tail, and I'm only going to use about 6 strands. Is all you really need. This is going to be the wing case on the back, the shell back, I mean. And we're just going to tie these about 6 strands down on top. And I'm going to bring it back here a little bit, and then we'll cut off the tips. Now for the dubbing, I'm going to wax up my thread. And the dubbing, I'm just using a natural color to match it. This one I'm tying in a brown, and I'm going to use some natural hare's ear dubbing, and we're just going to touch dub it on here. I don't want to use a whole lot. I just want to get a little bit on here, a little bit to give it a buggy look. Touch dub it on there, and then we're just going to twist it on, and then we're going to brush it out here in a second. So I want to build up a little bit of body with it, and that's going to be my legs. You could add legs to it if you want. If you want to use a finer dubbing and then add some, pheasant tail tips for the legs, that works just fine too. But like I said, I'm tying this actually on a size 22, and it's a pain in the butt to put legs on a size 22, and it's not really worth it when I can just brush out a little bit of the dubbing and get the same effect. So just tie that down, 2 or 3 wraps there, trim it off, and then we're going to whip finish. These are very quick flies, and you can whip these out very quickly, and you really should have a bunch of them in your box. The way I fish it is I'll fish this as my last fly on my nymph leader. I'll have usually a stone fly of some sort, something heavy to get me down, check nymph, something to get me down, and this dragging right behind it. And there you can see just how buggy that looks, how you can brush that out a little bit. You got your legs taken care of right there. And that was simple. I tied that in, like 3 minutes, 2 minutes. Very, very simple pattern, and it catches a ton of fish. Like I said, change the colors. Do it in some olives, some yellows, black, brown. all the natural colors. Make sure you hit on all the natural colors so you have a selection of them in your box. Go as low as you can tie in size. If you're comfortable only going to an 18, tie it in an 18. I don't use a bead on it because it's a tiny thing. If you put a bead on it, it takes more of your body up, and I want it to look as natural as possible, so I don't put a bead on it. But go with their natural colors, have a selection of them, and fish these things. I don't know if you want to say protested or whatever, fishing them for a long time, and I missed out on a lot of fish. I've been fishing them pretty religiously this year. I've made a commitment to myself to practice it and get better at it and use it a lot more. And I've had some people go out fishing with me that swear by them, and I've learned that they catch a lot of fish and they catch a lot of big fish by using them. So don't be afraid to do it, and do it as small as you can go. Like I said, I go 22s. I don't really need to go much smaller than a 22, but go 22s if you can. 18, whatever you feel comfortable, but get smaller flies in your box. It's a must-have. Thanks again for watching, and all the supplies you need to tie this. That was very, very simple. Whatever you want to use for a tail, a little bit of dubbing, and some string and your hook. That's all that this fly takes. Check us out at the shop, holsingersflyshop.com, for the materials. Please subscribe to our channel so you're constantly updated with videos. And like us on our social media outlets, Instagram, Facebook. Hit us up with a message if you have any questions. Thanks again for watching, everybody. And please check back often, as we're always putting new videos out. I'm Sean Holsinger.